man is back.
Oh, okay, boys. Oh my gosh, the man got that stuff. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have the leopard. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But look at that, my God.
This is your boy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash and True Inferno. Back at it with another Call of Duty Black Ops 6 commentary video gameplay for you guys. And you know what? I was supposed to be talking about Microsoft and Xbox and them doing something foolish for the second time within what? 3, 4, 5 months? But I gotta push that to next week because we got some serious things to talk about in this video. And for the first time, you don't know what I'm referring to because the title is kind of vague. But there's two things that are going on right now, within the Pokemon community that is like putting the Pokemon in a bad light. Now, let's get the first one out the way because the first one isn't as severe as the second, but it's still worth talking about. So, 2 days ago, prior to me recording this video, September the 2nd, this is when this happened. But I'm recording the video on the 24th, by the way. So 2 days prior, the Twitter account, DHS.gov, which is the Homeland Security, they put out a tweet basically about highlighted them going out and arresting who they consider to be illegal immigrants, or whatever the case may be. But they did it where they were using the Pokemon theme song. You know, I wanna be the very best. That one. With clips from the show. Mixing it up with the, you know, whoever it is, whoever officers that it is, going around confiscating people and trying to, you know, for the sake of shipping them out the country. And we don't like that. The Pokemon company did not, I mean, not the Pokemon company, let me be more specific. The Pokemon community did not like that at all. You know, they thought it was egregious. They thought it was asinine. And I agree. It was crap. It was crap. Well, here's what happened. I think yesterday, the 23rd, IGN came out with a story basically saying that fans want Pokemon to sue after the Department of Homeland Security video uses Ash Ketchum to promote ICE. But the company's former legal boss says he wouldn't touch this. So, here's what happened. And let me find the paragraph. So here we go. And in case you're wondering what the tweet is, it just said, and it literally in the tweet, it says, gotta catch them all too. It literally said that in the tweet, which is crazy to think about. Okay, so basically, for some odd reason, I don't know who did this interview. I don't know why, but they hit up Don McGrowan, who is the Pokemon's veteran X legal chief, which means he's no longer work for the company. He no longer has this position. But yet, they talked to this guy. And this guy says that he believes that nothing will be done about it. No action will be made towards, you know, ICE. Nobody will be sued. And if he was there, he wouldn't touch it at all. And he lists some reasons why. Okay, so let's read the quote. I don't see them doing anything about this for a few reasons. First, think of how little you see the Pokemon Company International's name in the press. Well, first of all, I know the theme song is like the American theme song. So that is more in line with the Pokemon Company International, although I believe there is a Pokemon Company International in Europe. So just to say the Pokemon Company International, that's like, yeah, I don't like that. That's not relevant. Of course, you're not going to see you're not going to see TPCI anywhere, but it still doesn't change the fact that they were still using the theme song and images from the intro in such a manner. So there's that. But let's continue with the quote. First, think of how little you see the PTCI's name in the press. They are insanely, oh, okay, in the press, rather. I thought I talked about in the video, so I take that back, in the press. They are insanely public, you know, they're insanely publicity side and prefer to let the brand be the brand, okay? So, there's that, I guess, which is like, I don't know if that's like true or not because of the fact that they going at the, what's that game? Power World? So, I don't know how true that is. So, there's that. Okay, let's move on with the quote. Second, many of the execs in the USA are on green cards. Even if I was still at the company, I wouldn't touch this as I'm the most trigger-happy CLO, Chief Legal Officer, I ever met. This would blow up in a couple of days and they'll be happy to let it. They, I'm assuming they as in the company or whatever. So, there's that. Now, a simpler tactic, this is, now we quoted that article here. And actually, let me back up a paragraph. For some fans, if no action is indeed taken, the Pokemon Company's lack of response here may likely seem surprising, considering the highly, and I'm gonna butcher this word, litigious nature of the corporation in other instances. Indeed, McGrawan has spoken in the past of swinging to action after spotting the unauthorized use of Pokemon intellectual property be reported on by the media. A simpler tactic for the Pokemon Company could simply be to lodge a copyright complaint against the post itself, as rapper Jay-Z successfully did back in August, I'm assuming that's August of this year, when his track Public Service Announcement was used in a similar recruitment video that featured footage of agents conducting immigration raids. That post, titled Hunt Cartel Save America, is still online, though the video is no longer accessible in response to a report by the copyright owner. So that, I would accept that. I would accept that, to be honest. So yeah, shout out to Jay for that. Shout out to Jay for that. Now, everything else, I'm not going to read because it's all irrelevant. Now, what I will say, however, is this. Today, prior to me recording this video, they did come out with a statement. This is according to TMZ. TMZ said the following. The Pokemon Company issues a statement over Homeland Security's Pokemon-themed ICE video. And here's the quote. We are aware of a recent video posted by the Department of Homeland Security that includes imagery and language associated with our brand. Our company was not involved in the creation or distribution of this content, and permission was not granted for the use of our intellectual property. End quote. So, I'm like, okay, if you don't want to sue, then at least get the video taken out. They could do that. So, I don't know why they haven't done that, because the video's still up, by the way. The video's still up, so they should at least do that. But yeah, that's like a problem. Like, yeah, we don't like that at all. So they should do something about that. That's number one. Now let's get on to the main issue here that's going on within the Pokemon community. And there's a major topic going on right now involving a Pokemon influencer, I guess you can call him that. And I'm not familiar with this person. I never heard of this person. So I never seen what this person looked like. I never seen this person. I don't know, anything. It's possible because, like, I've been to some tournaments, like Pokemon Worlds. I've been to a Pokemon International tournament. I've been to some regionals. It is possible that we might have walked by. And I never looked at the person or, anything. I just mind my business. Never heard of this person before. So, there's a post that came out yesterday. And I'm not going to say, it's a SA scenario. So the title of this post by Twitter user, use your voice 00, and the name associated with that is throw away sorry. And the post is called I was actually aid by this person. I'm not going to mention any names, by the way. I'm just going to mention the Twitter. So if you want to find the document, there's a document associated with it. So if you want to find the document, it's on Twitter. It's on Twitter. So, here's what the document says. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read some of it. So, and it starts off with, my story, and I quote here, my story includes sensitive topics such as verbal abuse in a word rhymes with grape. If those topics are uncomfortable or harmful for you, please do not continue to read. And then let's continue on. After recent events, I had decided to come forward with my story. I had debated sharing my experience, but I want to protect other members in my community. In 2023, I met this person at NAIC, which stands for North American International Championships, and we became fast friends. Our friendship soon developed into a relationship that lasted about 7 months. In December of that year, I was informed that this person had cheated on me, which prompted the downfall into the end of our relationship, which is terrible because I can't stand cheating. We I can't pronounce this word. We amicably went our separate ways before EUIC 2024. So that's Europe. No, Europe International Championship, by the way. And decided to share our previously booked accommodations for that event. So let's stop right there real quick. So prior to them breaking up, they have booked a room for the Europe International Championships. Now, even though they broke up because one of them cheated, not the person who posted this, but the other person, they still was like, yo, we can still be grown about it and share the room. And some people complain like, yo, why did you even share the room with this person to begin with? Yeah, was it a mistake? Yeah, I'll explain right in a second. But I'm not going to fault this person because, again, we are talking about adults here. So it's like, bro, let's just be adults about it and just share the room. We already booked it when we was together. Let's just share the room and then move on from there. Like, it was still, like, I can understand how people can look at that and say, yo, that's kind of awkward, well, not awful, but awkward to still go through and be in the same hotel as your ex. So, I mean, like, but again, it could work out it could work out many different ways. Like, y'all could be cordial to one another, share the room, and then go about your business. Y'all could rekindle the relationship. Y'all could, patch things over, make up, and go from there. But obviously, neither one of those happened. So again, I'm not going to fault this person for being like, yo, I decided to share the room that we booked prior to us breaking up. I'm not going to fault them for that, Would I have done the same thing? Probably not. I probably would have got back my money of it. Or if I was the one who booked the room, like I paid my own money for it, I probably either would have told them, nah, I booked the room, I paid money for it, nah, it best not to room together. Or if they paid for it and I didn't give them the money yet, I probably would have been like, yeah, I'm going to get my own room. Or been like, yo, let me get my money back. If I put money down already, be like, yo, let me get my money back. And I was going to book my own room, something like that. But unless they really want me to room with them, then I'll be like, we need 2 beds. We need 2 beds. But even with that, it would still be awkward. I don't know. I wouldn't like it if they would have want me to room with them, even though we broke up. Like me as the guy, I wouldn't like it. Not because of, what could happen from it. Like I could be framed or anything like that. It would have been awkward as heck. Like I would not feel comfortable sharing a hotel room with my ex. Like I understand, like if me and my ex got the room together and then prior to us going to the room, we broke up. I don't know. I wouldn't do it personally. Even if my ex wanted us to share the room still, I would not feel comfortable doing it. But if you, like, again, if y'all want to do that, if y'all in that situation, okay, I'm not going to fault either one of y'all for doing that. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Looking back, I regret the decision, but felt it was necessary to avoid conflict. I intended to be friendly, but made an effort to avoid them to keep things uncomplicated. So Saturday, April the 6th, while at EUIC, the Pokemon crew and I went to Club Fabric. I was on the dance floor when someone grabbed me and informed me that this person was making a scene by aggressively questioning others about my whereabouts and trying to find me. When they found me, they yelled that, and here's the quote, I needed to tell them where I was, and that it was, quoting again, not okay that they didn't know where I was. I was trying to de-escalate the situation and calmly told them that we were no longer together and that I didn't need to keep them informed. However, they became so aggressive that 3 community members stepped in and stayed by my side to make sure I was safe. Because we were sharing a hotel room, I knew I had to remain cordial. I did not want to upset them and risk more aggressive behavior or another outburst. Now, this would probably be the only, like, okay, so here's the thing. This is where I would have been like, okay. It's tough, too, because they are already in the process of sharing a room. So the only way this could work, right? If I were to say this person should have left, like, if any of her friends, let me find that paragraph. That said 3 community members. So I don't know if any of their friends were there or not. So, but apparently, yeah. I just saw the next paragraph. So yeah, they do have friends there. So what they should have done, in my opinion, was like, once they knew, okay, this was not going to work. This person being aggressive for stupid reasons. So this person being aggressive for stupid reasons, this person might be aggressive for other reasons that could lead to an altercation. That could lead to a situation. Therefore, you need to get out of there. So knowing that you have friends there, that this person should have asked their friends, like, yo, is it possible for me to spend the rest of EUIC with you guys on the floor? I don't care. I just need to get away from my roommate. Because my roommate is being aggressive for basically petty reasons. Very petty reasons. And if their friends were really their friends, they would say, they would understand it. First of all, they would have been told about the entire situation. They would have been like, yeah, you got a room with us. And then, because that was Saturday. So that Sunday, they should have made plans to go by the room and get all of their stuff, like that person's stuff. So, yeah, there you go. And really, what should have happened that night, in my opinion, was that person should have left. That person should have left. Oh, I'm not even gonna say left, because the community members who stayed by their side, they probably didn't want to leave. It's tough. It's tough. But I'm trying to think of this as logically as possible. So what they should have done was this. They should have somehow got in touch with their friends. I don't know if their friends were at this club or not, but they should have got in touch with their friends and be like, yo, I'm at this club. My roommate showed up, and for some stupid reason being aggressive, and now I'm afraid that something might pop off when we are alone in the room. Can I stay with you guys? And then they'll be like, yeah, sure. If they're real friends, they'll be like, yeah, sure, yeah, you can sleep on the floor, whatever. So at that point, they should have planned out, okay, how are we going to get the stuff out of the room without the roommate noticing, or without the roommate being there, whatever the case may be. So what they should have done was try to get the stuff out that night. I don't know what time it was. If it was close to closing time, then I doubt they couldn't have done it that night, because the roommate would have went back to the room too. So either, depending on what time it was, like, first of all, that person should have left. The one who was being violated verbally, that is, at the very least anyway, should have, like, in my opinion, should have left to get away from that person, like, as far away as they can. That's number one. Number two, if it was like early on in the night, like, maybe 11 p.m., midnight, maybe 1 p.m. a.m. I don't know what time clubs close in Europe. So if it's something along those lines, yeah, they may have time to rendezvous with their friends, go to the room, get their stuff, and get out of there. That's a possibility. And have their friends help out too. Like, yeah, let me grab this for you. Where you want this, blah, blah, blah. And then go up and then get up out of there. If there was not enough time because the club scene was about to end, or they noticed that the roommate was about to dip, then this person should have went to their friend's hotel, spent the night, and then wait until sometime the next day for the roommate to leave, and then go over there, get the stuff, and get out. Like, that's, like, if you're trying to get your stuff and get out without any confrontation rather. And the main thing is, you do not want to do that by yourself. You want to have backup. So, yeah, there you go. All right, let's move on with the paragraph. Or not the paragraph, but with the documentation. Sunday, April 7th, my friends attended EUIC and I ended the night at an arcade bar. The other person and their group of friends showed up, and I attempted to keep my distance. However, when this person saw me sitting at a table alone, they came over. Another member of the community approached us, and I used it as an out so I could avoid a conversation with this person. During this interaction, I was entirely distracted and not paying attention to my drink on the table in front of me. I finished my drink at the table. Yeah. So, okay. A lot of things wrong here. First of all, once you saw them, you should have left. Once you saw that person, you should have left. Because it's not going to be fun. There's no way. It's no longer fun once you saw that person. And that this person had a scribe with them, nah, it's no longer fun. You have to dip. Don't even finish your drink since it was on you and that person never made contact with you anyway or never confronted you anyway. Finish your drink and then get out of there. Or even don't even finish your drink, just get out of there. Like, nope, Like, get your friends, but like, yo, they here. And then again, they shouldn't have been alone anyway. They should have been with their friends that whole time. Now, I'm not going to read the next paragraph because the next paragraph features accusations involving the word grape, rhyming with grape. So I'm not going to read that paragraph. Okay, let's move on to the next paragraph after that. The next morning, I knew I had to leave the hotel. I was afraid that if I expressed this to that person, they would become aggressive and prevent me from going. After expressing how I did not remember anything from the night before and asked what happened, they left and proceeded to send me a voice memo saying, and I quote, "I know that this hasn't been the best of weeks and that a lot has happened, but thank you for being you." End quote. Like, really? After that point, we went on separate ways. Now, this paragraph right here will, in my opinion, basically spells that this person is guilty. Not the person writing the documentation, but the person that they're talking about. And I quote, "Over text, I tried to get them to fill me in on the events of the evening. It became too traumatic and I decided to block their number and their accounts on all social media. Because of this, messages from mutual friends started pouring in. I have received screenshots documenting this person stating that, quote, they should have recorded our conversation the morning after and them calling our interaction blackout and then the word that rhymes with text. And then, of course, they say that they will not be posting these unless directed by people who have sent them, as I do not want them to feel uncomfortable or be exposed," which is a good point. Not to mention, if this person planned on taking this to court, that's evidence. So all that is evidence. So basically, there's people who've been in contact with this person in question, and that person said, yo, they had blackout text with, like, that right there is pretty much evidence right there. Moving on. Until now, I have been silent in order to protect myself. I have done my best to avoid this person. I feel as if it's my responsibility to share this information to protect other people in this community. And then, let's see. So they don't want to be named. And then the rest of the paragraphs, okay, they talk about the community, how much they love it, and want to protect it and stuff like that. So I'm not going to read all that. Now, towards this person in question, this is not a good look for them. This is not a good look for them. And not to mention, as far as I can tell, they have not responded at all to this. And here's the thing. So I've seen some people say, well, why didn't you report this sooner? And stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm not an expert on this because I'm not a woman. But I am reasonable enough to understand, because I heard this before, and it's like, you got to take them at this word. When a woman is a victim of being being a victim of rape, that's an emotional scar. That's not just a physical scar. That's an emotional scar. And, you know, trauma kicks in, and it's like they don't want to relive it. They want to try to put it behind them. So and they tend to ignore it. It's scary for them. So you can't just ask somebody to ignore all that and say, report this to the police, take this to court, and basically relive that night over and over again. No! Like, yes, would it be great if this person would have took this to court and get this person, you know, thrown in jail? Yeah. But should we demand that they do it? No. Because again, there's an emotional aspect to this. And again, as dudes, we're not really in our, generally speaking, we're not emotionally like that. We're not in our feelings like that. We don't really share our feelings like that as dudes. So, but again, girls, on the other hand, they're different. So you got to understand that, and you got to not necessarily relate, but you have to be like, okay, I understand. Back off. In terms of trying to force them to report this to the police as soon as possible. Like, there's some women who will do it, but there's some who won't, because again, it's an emotional thing. So, and again, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So it's like, yo, some of y'all need to chill out about that. Now, again, let's see. What else did I see some people say? So the main issue that some people have been bringing up and they've been getting backlash on is this really real? Did this really happen? We shouldn't like really just read one side of the story and just say, oh, this person should be banned, this person should be canceled, this person should be this, that, and the third, blah, 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 without actual evidence. Okay, so here's the thing to this. Generally speaking, they're correct. Because there have been scenarios where somebody walking around screaming, I've been SA'd, I've been raped, and then next thing you know, they lied because they're trying to get money or trying to get somebody in trouble, whatever the case may be. And that's what happened to, I think it was the Duke lacrosse team. Because there's actually a Wikipedia article about that. So yeah, that had happened before, and it could happen again. However, in this case, because of the fact that there's other people involved who talk to this person and can say, yeah, this person said that they had blackout text with another person. Like, if they come through and say, yeah, that's actually true. That's actually true. Then it's like, okay, we have a problem here. And to make matters worse, there's other women, and I'm looking at one right now, who are coming out and say, yeah, I have my own experiences with this person. So this dude is a repeated offender with many different people. So now it's like, okay, wait a minute now. If it walks like a duck and crack like a duck, then it's the duck. Because if other people are coming out and saying similar stuff about this person, then it's kind of hard to say, oh, this person is innocent when they got a history of doing stuff similar to that. And yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. So the fact of the matter is this. In this particular scenario, the person in question is guilty, should be kicked out of the community, should be in jail. There you go. So and then you know and then the law should do their thing and throw him in jail. That's my verdict on this scenario. But again, I want to reiterate, we cannot, because I've seen some people say anytime anybody speaks out and cries SA or grape, then we should automatically believe them. And it's like, now wait a minute, now we can't do that with every single case unless there's like a good amount of evidence that says, yeah, they're telling the truth, they did that joint. Because, because again, remember I said, the whole Duke lacrosse team scenario where, the so-called victims lied. And it was evidence found that they did lie. So it's like, wait a minute, we can't like automatically just side with, with the victim in scenarios like that. But in this particular case, yeah, this person in question is in trouble. Is in a whole lot of trouble. And that's my thoughts on that, and I'm going to call it a wrap. So with all that said, y'all know what this is. This is boy New J Gatsby, a.k.a. New Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.